So let's welcome in David Dennis Jr. of the Undefeated. He went to school with Steph Curry and has seen his development not only as a player, but also in life. He penned this article you see right there for the Undefeated. David, great to have you with us. And you guys go all the way back to college. As a person, what's the difference between Steph Curry then and now?
There's really no difference. I mean, he has a little bit more money than he did 10 years ago. But, you know, Davidson had a game on Friday. He was invited back to campus. Him and Brian Barr were there. I was at the game showing some school spirit. And afterwards, we were able to spend some time together, spend about 3 or 4 hours together hanging out on campus like old times. And it was really felt like it's the same guy. I mean, it's the same fun guy that I've known this whole time. The only difference is we had kid pictures to show each other and kid videos, and we're talking a little bit more about marriage and family, but the essential stuff that made us friends and made him who he is. I mean, it's still there, same guy.
What is it about him that lets him that enables him to be so grounded then, to not have that change despite all he's achieved?
Well, I think one of the things that's interesting with him as opposed to, some of the guys who were sort of in his class, the LeBrons or the KDs, is that, Stephen Curry was not somebody who was really pegged for the NBA until later on in his life. You look at LeBron, he was on the covers of magazines at 15. Stephen really was not thought of as an NBA talent, or even definitely not an MVP talent until much later. So he was able to have relatively normal college life. And I've always just seen him as Stephen, and not the MVP at school. I did not see him as a potential MVP, maybe a borderline all-star, towards the end of the college career. But he was just a guy on campus who could play basketball pretty well.
So for a guy who wasn't expected to be there, what do you see as the primary aspects in terms of what he told you that brought him to NBA stardom?
Well, I mean, really, it's just he has no idea of what a ceiling is, and that's in life at all. He just has no thought about limits of what he can do. So just like on the court, when he might stretch out for a 40-foot three-pointer, he tries the new limits at all times, and he's never really thought about the words no, or I can't, or maybe we should try next time. So he's just that's just really what has put him to where he is just that belief in himself, and of course practice and putting it to use.
Let's talk about his activism. You talked about in your article about how in college he had lots of viewpoints, he was comfortable expressing himself, but how did his mindset evolve between having those thoughts of I can express myself to my friends to I'm comfortable expressing how I feel on a national level, even when it concerns the president?
Well, I mean, first of all, he's extremely intelligent, but also he's very intentional, and that's one of the grounding foundations of any activism is being intentional and knowing when you want to act, when you want to strike, and what your passions are. Even at school, there were times where you might not know exactly that he's paying attention, but he's paying attention. He's able to speak about the issues and able to join in whenever there was something that we needed a voice, and he was definitely an important voice for us to have. And just like that, I mean, just like back then, now he's an important voice for everybody in this country, in particular African Americans, young women, on the way he's speaking up, and he's makes sure that he knows what he's talking about before he speaks, and rarely makes those big missteps, and that's where we are now.
Does he get concerned about backlash?
No, not really. I mean, we talked about it in the article, and he says, he understands that he knows that there will be people who dislike the things that he says or the decisions that he makes, especially when it comes to not going to the White House and things he says about the president. But that's just par for the course. There are going to be people that do not like a lot of things he does, but I mean, he's working for a greater cause.
Right. Really, couple seconds here. I know he's changed a lot since then. What's the big thing that defines him to you? One word that explains who he is to us based on your friendship.
Genuine. He's a genuine guy. I mean, the same guy as always. Really genuine guy.